All right, leaders, are you ready to lead? We're ready to help you out here. We're ready to get going here. We're ready to lead out the leaders and give them greater courage and confidence and belief in themselves about you can do it. You can do it, leaders. Mainline Executive Coaching, ACT, it is about action. Today's action we're going to be talking about is resiliency. Resiliency. And you leaders, as you set the example, as you set the tone for your personal ability to be resilient, you set the standard for your teams, for your organizations, your departments. That's how this works. So it begins, leader, with who? Rich? Who does it begin with?
The leader with
That's
you
right. That's what I
begins
say.
with you. Yeah. Right
Leaders
there.
lead.
You're in square one of the board game, and it starts there.
Lead with resiliency. This is my partner, Rich Barron. I'm Michael Bailey. We're ready to take it on. Are you ready to get going on it? Let's do this. So, we've
Let's
got
do
a
this.
very interesting article here that Rich has found on resiliency. It's got some great information in it. We want to share it with you. It was published just the 24th of October, just the day before. It is on Rhinestand Reismart.
Yes.
Okay, on their website there. And do we know? I don't know who the authors are. Do you know who the authors are of this?
I don't have anything on the authors. I'm afraid, but it is on their website.
It's a great article. It's absolutely great. So,
Randstad, and I got to tell you, this Randstad Rice Smart. I'm not. We're not paid to give a
disclosure,
right
we don't any stock.
any stock in the company, but I'll tell you what, I've been incredibly impressed with the stuff that they're posting, stuff that they're putting out there. Very in tune with what's going on today.
Almost as much as we are.
Just yeah, second best.
That's why we're using your article.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that's good. So let's talk about this thing about resiliency. 4 generations, resiliency across the ages, is what you said.
Yeah,
And so we want to take a look at how each of these generations look at resiliency. All right. So let's start off here. Gen Z, resilience elevates truth. That's an interesting one.
yeah.
So let's start talking about that one.
This,
Gen
I
Z.
mean, this is interesting because there are 4 generations in the workforce right now,
Mhm.
and it's resiliency to each of them means something different. And especially, let's talk the Gen Z. They're according to what the article says, Gen Z is a generation that seeks truth and authenticity, mostly about themselves,
And others. Yeah. Okay.
mostly about themselves and others.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that a lot of the focus on resiliency with Gen Z is, they want to see basically what's in it. The purpose for them is, 42% of them would rather be at a company that gives them a sense of purpose than one that pays more money. That's a very interesting thing. But however, 56% of Gen Z would leave their job if it interfered with their personal lives. That's a completely different mindset than generations past.
Well, it's a different kind of if it interfered with their personal lives. That's different than it didn't agree with their values.
Right, right.
Saying personal lives is kind of a value, but most people, we work with people that are unemployed, and we see that most people who leave an organization leave it because there's a dissonance, there's a disconnect with their personal values and the organization.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's a powerful thing. If the values don't resonate, if they're not close enough, they don't have to align perfectly, but there's enough similarity that you can work with them. That's a totally different thing with that. Well, it's interfering with my personal life.
Yeah. One of the things that for Gen Z, and this article points out, and we agree with this because we've seen this, is employee coaching, leadership and personal development coaching would help them through these struggles with their own ideas about resiliency in the workplace. And 48% of Gen Z is significant enthusiasm would have significant enthusiasm for employer sponsored coaching. Now, here's the thing: is it says employer sponsored coaching.
Hmm.
It doesn't say seeking personal development. It says if they would pay for it for me, I would be enthusiastic about that.
What does that
Which
say to you? It says something to me, but I'd like to hear what is it you take out of that?
that they're not extremely interested in personal development at this point. They're more interested in what's in it for me. What's in it
Well,
for
I think
me
it's also
versus
the idea of somebody else is taking care of them. I mean,
yeah,
we
yeah,
take,
exactly.
we
Yeah.
take people through a conversation of, okay, so why would you want to get executive coaching? What's in it for you? What are you missing out on? What's it costing you by not getting those extra level of skills and habits put in place? And as they start taking a look at that, and there's real costs,
Yeah.
emotional, psychological costs that go on, and there's also real financial costs that
Yeah.
they're missing out on that they just don't know how to get to.
Yeah.
And so once you start looking at it, what's it really costing you? What's the pain that's really involved here? Not just the pain of growth, which is going to be something, but the pain of missing out on what could have been yours. Then people have a really interesting choice. Even if your organization doesn't pay for this kind of coaching,
Yes.
leadership, executive development kind of coaching, even if you don't, why wouldn't you?
Yes.
Because if you don't get it taken care of, you're still going to miss out. You're still going to miss out on the opportunities of growth and development, fulfillment, as well as the financial rewards. So it's a
Yes.
real interesting place for people to figure out to get to because some level they have to realize, your career track is yours.
Yeah. Absolutely. But it does say there's 9% of those the survey that are paying for coaching on their own.
So that's admirable. I think that's admirable.
It
I mean,
is.
that's a fairly high level of personal responsibility, right?
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's go to this next age group, millennials.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. 78% of millennials say that they would switch jobs even if the same salary were offered for a better balance of life, both inside and outside work. Now, that's a real interesting one. I mean, in both of these, what we're seeing is a level of, and I don't know if they see it or not. What makes us to be able to be so, I don't know, picky or selective about, I don't, if they're going to do that, it's going to interfere with my life. If that is my life balance. What makes that possible? And I'll tell you what makes it possible. Abundance.
Abundance, absolutely.
If there was
From
scarcity,
a time of abundance.
yeah, if there was scarcity in the economy, we may find look with the inflation, all the jazz that's going on in the economy worldwide, we're looking at scarcity as we go to the stores. As they're talking about what's going to be going on with, for instance, in Europe, they may not have enough gas to keep themselves heated.
Yeah.
People in France are now storing wood to burn through the winter. I mean,
Yes.
on one hand, we got more than enough energy throughout the world. If you really take a look at it, we didn't always believe that, but we're starting to find out that this creation of petroleum is an ongoing thing that the Earth does, and we can actually trace back the guy who started the lie that there's only so much of that. There was actually
Yeah,
a
we're gonna
lie
run out.
in the
Yeah.
1900s, right? Anyway, the point of this is that that's only possible because of abundance. If things change, people may be starting to say, so what if I have to work the weekends? I have to work 50 hours or 60 hours a week. If I got to, take care of myself, my lifestyle doesn't matter much if I don't have a job and if I don't have money. That's a whole different deal. All of a sudden, the whole board game has changed.
Yes, it is. And it's interesting. This is the age group that really started not only with abundance, but that age group that everybody gets an award for showing up.
Yeah.
There was, they're very tech savvy by nature, but not just by nature, but by nurturing. They grew up in a tech savvy world.
I think they're very bright, talented people. There's
Oh,
no doubt.
absolutely.
They're gifted in that way. Technologically, they're gifted.
It's yeah. There's a very interesting statistics. Let me read some of these statistics. So 78% of millennials say they would switch jobs even if the same salary were offered for a better balance of life, both inside and outside work. Okay. Which is a different mindset from previous generations. They were in it to stay. They were in with, they got in with the organization, and we're gonna through thick and thin, we're gonna be here.
And on both sides.
Yeah,
the
both sides.
organization and the individual. So
Yes,
it's not just a
absolutely.
one-way street here, right?
Yeah, it was both sides with the pensions that were offered and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
54% of the older millennials, ages 33 to 40, are considering a move to another organization in the next 12 months. That's a lot of that workforce. That's 50% of millennials, 33 to 40
Yeah,
years old. That's a big number. That's a big
that's
number.
a huge number. And so the question becomes, why would they be so easy to shift from this organization to that? I mean, that's a large number there. And obviously there's a lack of emotional connection,
Yeah.
the lack of emotional attachment that they're experiencing. And that goes back to leaders. What are you doing to keep your people cohesive, connected to you, you're connected to them? That's a big number.
Here's a very interesting statistic. 29% chose their new jobs because of the learning and development opportunities, while 39% chose their current jobs for the work-life balance.
That is a very interesting number. Why do you think it's interesting? And I'll tell you why I think it's interesting.
The majority of that, in that particular statistic, they're looking for work-life balance. They weren't looking for personal learning and development. They were looking for, am I going to have time to do those things I want to do? Yeah, to you get out and do whatever.
Sure, that's cool. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Here's what I find really interesting. 29% chose their new jobs because of their learning and development opportunities. So here it goes. About 30% leaders, about 30% of your people on your workforce, 30% of them, got 29% here, really are in it to make a contribution. They want to make things work. Therefore, since they want to make things work, they're going to be into education. They're going to be into development. They're going to be learning to get as much as they can out of it so that they can give back to the organization, to the teams they lead, the teams that they belong to.
Yeah.
That's that 30% of your organization that probably in a lot of ways makes a lot of things work.
Yeah.
They're the workhorses. They're the ones that really make the difference.
Yep. And here's another really, really interesting statistic about millennials, Michael.
Hmm.
83% say that executive coaching would be very or extremely valuable for them.
I wonder why they think that.
I don't know. Maybe because they're starting to see the roadblocks by not.
Well, I think what's happening is that we talk about there's that level of pain and growth and going stuff. I think what they're seeing is I see the opportunities that I have in this organization. I don't know how to really take full advantage of them. I don't know how to deliver. I don't know what to do. I don't have the skills. I don't have the disciplines to do those things. I want to get those things. And really, when it comes down to that, when you really start boiling that down, you can go get the information about how to build skills out of a book, out of a podcast, out of, go watch some videos. There's a bunch of places. That's not enough.
No, it's not.
It's that relationship between, yourself and that coach who understands you, who can see things that you cannot see, who has been there many, many, many times. And so for you, it's like the first time I've been through this. But the coach has been there many times, and so they know how to move you. They know how to assist you in that movement of growth and development, not only at the level of leadership, but sometimes even before that, your own personal development. We said before, unless you do pay the price for personal development, you have no ability to go into leadership development. If you just want to skip over that and go into leadership development, you're building castles in the sky because there's no foundation.
There's no foundation. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you got to have the foundation. Because if you don't know yourself, if you can't manage yourself, you can't motivate yourself, why would you think you could really understand somebody else or help them manage themselves or work with them to manage or motivate? Why would you believe that? If you don't have it, you can't give what you don't have.
Let's move on. Let's talk about these Gen Xers.
Okay, Gen Xers.
Yeah. These are, according to Britannica, Gen X is a generation built on perseverance and problem solving. Maybe I should quit trying to read this and just say it. Yeah, their generation build on perseverance and problem solving. It's very interesting.
So you have
Different
these
ways.
people have a certain amount of independence to them. There's a certain amount of interesting autonomy, you
Yeah,
know, that these other two generations that we haven't talked about. It's important to have the ability to make a difference in the organization for 15%. Its development opportunities. So they're self-starters. They have an investment in themselves. They realize at some level it's up to me if it is to be. This is a great place. This is a great generation that says, I have expectations of a potential move and progress within the current organization, and they're willing to step it up. They're willing to do something about it.
yeah,
Resourceful, they got great points. Resourceful by need, independent by nature. So they've had to be resourceful. They, for some reason, they couldn't rely on those that were raising them. They've had to, how to be more resourceful, resilient, you might say, independent by nature. I love that. Dedicated to work, balanced life. That's cool. You don't want to get too far. And according to others, adaptable and entrepreneurial.
entrepreneurial. Yep.
So those are great qualities to have there. Great qualities. Get a hold of those folks and get out of their way, give them the tools they need, the resources. They can do some incredible stuff for you.
Well, in a lot of ways, this generation and the boomers were really responsible for developing the technology that the millennials got to take advantage of, that they were nurtured by when they were younger. So there's a lot to be said by that. Very resourceful, problem solvers, a lot of perseverance in getting the what needs to be done and putting that foot forward.
Yeah, going through hard stuff, taking on hard stuff, working through the difficult. I mean, there's something about that. I mean, you can't become stronger unless you're lifting heavier weights than you're used to lifting.
Right.
That's the part of it. You got to stretch it. Yeah.
That's right. So what else about Gen X that you think is important to mention here?
Well, let's see. It's important. 39% of the ability is to make a difference in the organization. They want a piece of the pie, I think. 50%
Yep.
of Gen X expectations of a potential move and progress within their current organization. That's kind of interesting that they're willing to work. In other words, they're willing to set up reciprocal agreements. Let's work this together. I mean, I want to work here. Do you want me to work here? Let's set up the agreements. I'm not going to just jump bail on you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to abandon you, and I don't expect you to abandon me either.
Right.
We're going to be partners, and I think that's very mature. And that's great stuff.
And Gen Xers, they're the oldest Gen Xers are in their mid-50s now. So they've got a lot of time left in the workforce.
Okay, that's good stuff. That's good.
Yeah.
38% of Gen X is enthusiastic for employer-sponsored coaching. Okay, Gen X is not prepared for a little career and is open to coaching and intervention. See, again, they're teachable.
Yes.
That's the whole thing here. If you're not teachable, not a whole lot you can do.
No. Not a lot. So boomers, let's talk. We're both baby boomers, Maikel.
We are.
So what does baby boomers? It's a different time, and I think there was a lot of abundance for the baby boomers, but it was a different kind of abundance. It was post-war. There's a lot of things changing in the United States. A lot of, through the 50s and early 60s, a lot of changes in the world at that time. A lot of changes as far as the type of money was being made in homes, and I think there was abundance, but it was a different kind of abundance and a different mindset around that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was not necessarily a lot of stuff, but there was an abundance, I think, of how do I put it? There was a sense of security. We
Yeah.
grew up in a state or a time period where there was a lot of security in terms of just who we were. We understood who we were, how we felt about life, about how we felt about. At one time, we really trusted the institutions, and
Yes.
the other side of that whole thing is the institutions, for the most part, were trustworthy. Not all of them, but they were for the most part. Something you could believe in, and so we've got a very different perspective about And the other part of that I think that's really nice is that they may not want to be retired all the way. They want to keep working. Work brings a sense of purpose, sense of direction, a sense of meaning. So they're not just, wanting to throw in the towel and just coast along in life. Some are. I know some that do. But, there's a sense of, we understand that the way life works is work, have a purpose, make a
Yeah.
contribution, improve yourself. And as you do so, you'll improve the lives of others.
Yeah.
That's right.
Here in this
A lot
article,
of these people are going to watch this and go, "Oh, these people are so old." They
yeah,
just
yeah,
It's
these
okay.
gray hairs don't get it.
That's right. I think you're catching up with me. I think I'm just looking, counting.
I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. So I'm getting there.
I'm ahead of you by a
But
lot.
here's the thing: is gray hair is needed in the boardroom. That gray hair in the boardroom is essential. And others may be listening to me going, "What are you talking about?" But it's all about that work life experience.
There's something to that. There's some things you just cannot
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah.
You cannot fake.
So, and it's interesting that 29% of boomers ages 65 to 72 are still working or looking for work because they want to be valued and they want to continue to grow. They're not, even though that they're nearing their retirement or in that retirement age, most are saying, I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to work. And here's the thing about resilience for baby boomers, and not that we're, because we're boomers and we're saying we're better than everybody else. That's just not the case. Not even close. But resilience for baby boomers equates to adaptability. In their lifetime, they've come through the other side of countless challenging times. Different wars. I mean, we all have gone through wars, but I think it was different times.
Yeah, this idea of continual education. I mean, grew up in the time period where the idea is, your car is a rolling university. And certainly that could be more applicable now than ever with Audible.
Yeah.
Be able to listen to podcasts as you're driving to work or as you're driving in a carpool or on the train or whatever it is. It is a rolling university. Use your time. Just don't fill your time. And I think that's a big deal for everybody. And so it's a principle. It's just not a generational thing, Rich. It's
Yeah.
a principle of education and learning and personal development. And
There it
so
is.
they
Yeah.
like training courses. They like to, develop new skills. I think that's what it's all about. And then determining new ways to gain knowledge. What are some other ways? They're always looking into that. For you to lead leaders, there is no place that you can just say, "I've arrived." It's not possible.
No.
The wisest man or woman in the world still has things to learn.
Absolutely.
And so if you are a leader, if you're serious about being a leader, there's always that next thing to learn, next thing to master, that next thing to pass along. You never arrive. And so that's why that whole thing about it's not just in it for me, but it's for my team. It's for all of us that I'm taking this time. That's why, again, Rich, great leaders are extraordinarily rare because most people are not willing to take the time and put in the effort to do that. But when you find those people, they're gems.
They are. And listen to them.
Yeah, there you
Take
go.
listen.
All right, I think our time's up here. Let's wrap it up. We've got a great podcast that we've just completed here. Hopefully, it's worthwhile to you folks that are watching it. You get some
Yep.
gems out of it. All right, take your gems. What are you gonna do? Get your groceries. Go to town.
That's right. And hopefully you buy something good with that.
Turn it
not,
into something
not
worthwhile.
just a candy bar. Let's get something good.
Short spurt.
Yeah. Uh, you know, who we shouting out to today? We've got a lot of new listeners, Maikel.
We do. We have a lot of people here in the United States. We have people in Europe, um, people in Brazil. We got people in Romania. We got people in Italy as well. We've got a lot of people from all over the place, and so just keep spreading the word. Spread the word. Say if this is something you like, tell other people about it. Spread the word. If we're doing you any good, there must be some other people that that we can help out as well. So pass it forward, as the saying goes. We love you guys. We care about you. We want to be. Sometimes we're annoying. We understand we're annoying,
Yeah.
we sometimes get a little, come on, get with
But,
it.
but
But
at
the
least
other
we're
reason
good at
is,
it.
yeah, we want you to be
Good
great
influence
leaders.
people.
We
Yeah.
want you to be great leaders. We want you to be improve your leadership character and strength and skills. So that's what we do here. That's what our lives are dedicated to.
And that's what servant leadership is about. Serving others.
It
And
is.
right now, I'll tell you what, right now in the world that we live in, there has never been a better time or a more needed time than to serve one another.
That is the truth. Leadership, great leadership. There's never been a greater need for greater leadership or great leadership now than ever.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the place. This is the time. And you can look across the global world, and there are horrible leaders. I mean, there's good leaders that really want the best, and they work hard for their people, and they work hard for their communities, whatever that is. They've got the right mindset, the right tools, the right skills, the right habits. And then there's the bad or just the poor leadership that they just don't get it. They don't get it. The bad leadership is not necessarily very effective.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's another level, another group of leadership, which is just evil.
I
And
agree.
evil leadership can be a combination of both bad leadership, but sometimes evil leadership is very, very, very effective.
I'm not even sure I'd use the term leadership in that. I would just say evil people.
Yeah, they're tyrants,
They're tyrants. Yeah. Dictators.
and they can still be very effective.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very
That's
effective.
unfortunate. Yeah.
That's why we need good leaders to
That's
offset them.
right. Yes, we do. All right, folks. Again, at the end of another rousing episode of Mainline Executive Coaching ACT. And so we appreciate you all. We appreciate all your support. And until we meet again, take care of each other. Be safe. We'll see you.
All right, leaders, lead. All the best.